Alright, so now we're gonna be reacting to the Zer0finix experience, the Sonic OC Predator. So it was recommended when I scrolled the videos that I'm interested to watch, and this popped up. And it keeps on, showing me that, like, hey buddy, watch this. Come on, watch it. And I was like, alright. So it's made by like ZipZap. So let's get on with it. It's 26 minutes long, almost nearly half an hour.
What is it, Shadow? Your face. What is it? Is there something on it? Ah! Hey! Just as I expected.
Shadow? Czy wszystko jest dobrze? Wyglądasz, jakbyś miał jakiś problem. Jeśli jest ci smutno, możemy pogadać.
I don't know the creator who made this shit.
Zer0finix has been accused of sending NSFW artwork to minors.
Y es que también esta persona extorsionaba a menores de edad para sacarle provecho, lo cual eso tampoco está muy bien.
It's absolutely evil that she did that to them. The very idea of sending porn to a minor should have never crossed her fucking mind in the first place.
Oh, sounds like Chronic thing. Am I right? Or critics that forgot to age restrict them. Jesus.
You're watching this? Fuck you, fuck your art, fuck your OC Alina, and get the fuck out of the internet, you fucking...
That's a pretty, like, chaotic start.
In my earlier videos, I've always started them out with the definition of a very specific word. Mind Blends was PD, Amazing Dudes was hypocrisy, the list goes on. And the reason why I did that was not to dumb down my audience. That was not the case at all. The reason why I did that was to establish a theme, a common occurrence throughout the video. And in this case, the word was egotism. Thinking only about yourself and considering yourself better and more important than other people. This is at least how Cambridge defines it, but it's defined differently in other places. Merriam-Webster defines it as excessive use of first-person singular personal pronoun. You're free to disagree with me on this, but this definition doesn't exactly work. It's too broad, it's just not specific enough. Egotism is not to be confused with ego. Those are two entirely different words. Ego is defined as the self, I, you, basically how you feel about yourself compared to the world around you. In other words, it's okay to have an ego, but you can't be egotistical. No one will bat an eye if you are confident about something, especially if you are proud of it. But it's an entirely different story if you are boastful about it. The subject of this video is a perfect example of egotism, and more than just that, so much so that they believe that they are beyond criticism, hell, even beyond humanity, because of the fame they had, the attention they got, and overall, the atmosphere in which they grew up in. This is the rise, fall, and decay of Zer0finix. Zer0finix, real name Neela, was a 22-year-old artist from Brunei. Because that she went by many names throughout her life, we'll only refer to her as Neela from now on to prevent confusion. Neela first appeared as Neela Maria 1 on DeviantArt some point in 2016. The name was later changed to Sonic I'm Blue 19 and then what we now know as Zer0finix. She made fan art for the video game series Sonic the Hedgehog, and yes, she was of course deep in the fan base. Before we go any further, we have to understand what kind of art that she made. Like any big fan base, the Sonic fan base is big into ships, pairing up characters into relationships. Of course, these relationships are not real, they were never made official in any Sonic game or medium, but ships nevertheless are extremely popular.
Hey, leave that fuck out of this, please!
She had a talent, and it didn't go unnoticed. Since Neela was mostly a ship artist, the fan base propelled her to instant recognition. On each post, she earned about 250 favorites on average. By online fan artist standards, this was phenomenal. From drawing Shadow and Blaze in hyper-romantic positions to drawing Sonic characters in various outfits, there was no doubt that Neela took the fandom by storm. However, there was one thing that Neela drew the most, that would become the magnum opus of her career.
Seizure warning.
Hey, are you alright?
Yeah, I think you get the point. Alongside her art of official characters, Neela had an OC named Elena. Elena the blonde hedgehog. Yes, that's exactly what she was called. She had to stress the fact that she was blonde. The fandom absolutely loved her, as you can tell. Countless fan art of her was made. Hell, people even made fan dubs of the comics that she was in. Elena's been shipped with a lot of characters, but she's been shipped with Shadow the most, otherwise known as Shadlina. I don't exactly know why, but so many OCs out there are shipped with Shadow. I mean, no shade, I just don't get the appeal, but I digress. Elena has been Neela's pride and joy since the day she started posting her art, and her fans recognize this. She was met with so much love that it started to get to her. Nobody else could compare to the huge success that Neela had in the community. You could say that it even stroked her ego. By the end of 2019, something came around that shook her ego.
It all started when I was in 8th grade, huh? Well, I'll be damned.
This is Moria the Hedgehog, a then recent OC by a Bahamian Twitter artist named Naeli. Let's call her Alshani from now on. She was actually an adoptable character design that Alshani bought and redesigned. She quickly became well liked and got a new following. However, Neela was having none of that. Now, it's important to note that Neela and Alshani used to be friends before what was about to happen. On 3rd November 2019, it was only a few hours after Alshani told Neela about her birthday plans when she got a new message. Hey, you! Someone give me a link and I saw you stole my Ekina. It's also important to note that since Neela's from Brunei, her English is also ass. I'm gonna try to say this as properly and correctly as I can. Hey, you! Someone gave me a link and I saw you stole my Elena design and the color. It's making me angry. Why did you do that? For obvious reasons, Shani ignored her responses, but she just kept going. I want you to change the design and the color before I make the journal and tell my followers to report you. Let's just ignore her writing skills and focus on what she's going on about. Neela was angry at Alshani for stealing Elena's design despite the fact that the only similarity was the color of their hair, and then proceeded to threaten Alshani, unleashing her fans against her. I made a video years ago addressing the same exact thing, yet this is still apparently an issue. Social media never changes. After Alshani was blocked, she made a post detailing the issue. Oh, now this is interesting. Time to see where this will go. One thing for certain is, Moria is here to stay. This tweet blew up, and in a single day, the community was floored. I had no idea she was like that. There are thousands of FCs out there. There are bound to be similarities. This whole mentality of, oh my god, you copied my Sonic FC, change it or I will report you, is so old and very 2007 DeviantArt. I love their art, but damn, they need to get their ego checked. Do you see what I was talking about before? At this point, the story writes itself. I could just scroll down and read the replies. I don't even need to tell you why this is so fucking stupid. Of course, this is an art community. Art theft is deeply frowned upon. But there is no such thing as stealing a character design. It's an entirely different story if you copy another character's design verbatim and attempt to profit off of it, which actually did happen. On 7th of December 2020, American artist Ghoulish tweeted the following. At about 4 p.m. today, I was notified that Serif's design was stolen by Totally Tits Art. There goes my monetization. Being sold as an adoptable. Below are screens of when I first posted Serif's design, and that the stolen design for the adoptable was made today. The similarities between the characters are just very uncanny in this case. It's even worse at the fact that Totally tried to sell this and profit off of somebody else's design. This situation was already dealt with, but I still felt like it was important to mention anyway, so that you could understand the difference. So back to this. As Shani tweets more screenshots about her conversations with Neela after she unblocked her. To sum it all up, Neela tells her that she has no problem with Alshani's character, that her OC was fine and that she could use any colors for her. I mean, if that's the case, why did you threaten to cancel her just a while before? She apologizes, and the reason why she did that was because she had a difficult home life. She had a creepy and abusive cousin who knows everything about her except for her internet life. It was all a misunderstanding. And I don't understand why she's saying all this. What does it have to do with the fucking OC? In reality, she's actually blaming her cousin for all of this. She says it wasn't her who wrote about her character being stolen, but her cousin all along. If that's the case, the guy should get a career in acting. He figured out how to write exactly like Neela. In other words, this excuse is just bullshit. Neela goes on to assume that Ashani was inspired by Elina's design, which is pretty self-centered. It was just a coincidence. She made an entire paragraph about how she makes her art for herself and not for fame. People are so jealous that they just hate and bully her for it. But she won't give up. She says she won't give up like Erika because she isn't weak like him. I don't need to tell you why nobody should even say that. And then she does the classic Twitter move. Blocking her account, blanking her profile picture, and guilt-tripping. All for an OC? Neela was bullied, right? Why do the same exact thing to someone else by attempting to cancel them? I just don't feel bad. After the call out, Neela continued to harass Elshani and her friends on sock puppets, trying to force out an apology. The accounts in question were My Angel Lover 1 and Super Lloyd, and she did a pretty bad job not blowing her cover. Neela's Angel account tweets to a Korean artist named Sucho. Neela is a good friend of mine, and then she told me suddenly she felt sad. She saw your Twitter and was surprised that you blocked her, and I ask you why. Sucho never even mentioned Neela or that they had her blocked, but it was because that she was following RP accounts with stolen art, which begs the question, why was she following them in the first place? That's kind of weird. Neela's Super Lurl account was used to not just fake screenshots of herself getting harassed, but to harass others. Neela played an act of convincing this so-called bully to realize the error of his ways and leave the internet for good. There are no screenshots of the account harassing other people, but considering that this apology mentions multiple people, it's safe to assume it's true. And then finally, on New Year's Eve of 2019, Neela announces to Alshani a goodbye forever message. Neela could apologize all she wants, but this situation permanently affected her status as an artist. People never saw her the same. Though this isn't the last time we'll see her. Not at all. She'll still be around, very active the next year, acting like none of this ever happened really. In fact, earlier in 2021, new screenshots emerged. Neela was harassing children to change their OC's designs to look different from hers, and if they didn't comply, she sicks her fanbase on them like bloodthirsty dogs. According to an anonymous account, one person was harassed so much that they were forced to leave the community, all because they stated how horrible Neela's attitude was. She says all she wants to do is move on and be left alone, but never fully admitting to the things she did. She really just wants it all under the rug to save her reputation. There are plenty of cases of people accusing each other of stealing Sonic OCs in the past, and by stealing, just having similar color palettes. There's an odd belief that an OC could one day be featured in official Sonic media, whether it be a video game, a comic, or an animation. According to this tweet, Neela once wrote that Sega was acquiring Elena so she would become an official Sonic character.
This person has claimed that they worked for Sega and their OC was going to be an official Sonic character and all that other shit.
Maybe this is hearsay, but it does sound like something she would say. No shit, Sega never did this, and it's probably for the best. Regardless, some artists just strive for originality and get so upset when they see someone else with similar ideas, and this is how egotism can develop. If your OC is considered so popular and so original, that shit gets into your head. Unfortunately, this is not where the story ends.
This is what I was in freshman.
But she would always be very flirty, that's one thing. And I would be flirty back because, like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was younger than I am now at the time. I was about 16, 17 at the time.
How old was she?
Somewhere in her early 20s. I'm pretty sure 21 or 22, but I may be wrong.
Back in February of the last year, Neela was involved in a relationship with Goopy Lemon 78. She was 22, while he was no older than 17. The relationship was short, but it included plenty of lewd content that no minor should be exposed to. Neela made and sent him art of Elena, often naked and in very sensual positions. She also wrote lewd roleplays with Goopy, often forcing him to play how she wanted with no regards to his wishes. Even when the conversation wasn't dirty, Neela still groomed him, having threatened to dox people who she didn't like and were friends with him.
She did do inappropriate stuff even before we started dating. Sending art, not safe for work art, made it to where she kind of like forced me into like wanting it.
So what kind of things did you two do while you were dating? Was it like role playing, art trades, stuff like that?
Role playing. She would start off friendly and like she kind of like slink her way into turning it forced.
And was this for like every session?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but one thing was for a fact, she forced me to like not play my OC how I want to play him.
I don't need to go about a long lecture about why this is horrible. You ought to know that by now. But if anybody hasn't begun to abhor this artist at this point, they are bound to now. Of course, one could argue that international relations come to play here, that Neela is from a totally different nation with its own laws and customs, and that she's not in the wrong. And while that's not entirely illogical, that's not the case here. Even Neela admits that what she had done was legal, no matter where she was. It's unwritten law that any relationship between grown adult and child is wrong. Of course, when Neela is confronted about this, she attempts to blame it on him. I mean, if I understand this correctly, she says he forced her to become his girlfriend. No, you can't force someone on the internet. The block button is just one press away. Months after this took place, they were leaked by none other than Alshani herself. Neela was under fire once again. This should serve as a reminder to be wary of someone who acts way too cute to woo and that women can be PD as well. I feel disgusted. I used to look up to Zero. I feel so sick right now just knowing she did this. Even Goopy himself took to Instagram to expose Neela's actions to the world. You say I used you. Me. I used you. You make me laugh. You used me. guilt-tripped me, forcing me to spend a bunch of money on your commissions, forcing me to lose interest in my previous girlfriends, making me think I was in love with you. I trusted you, gave you my kindness, and what did I get? Multiple attempts in a broken soul. The full story is about 20 pages long. He writes that Neela forced him to touch himself and engage in lewd roleplays under the fear of losing her as a friend. Being in such a relationship has damaged his mental state, and he's still recovering as I speak. And no, Goopy is not Neela's only victim. He's the only one who revealed himself. At least one 17-year-old was also groomed by Neela, but they remain anonymous. One thing's known for sure is that they live in America, and that's as far as we should know. Keep in mind, I didn't take this evidence. I'm only showing it. And with how these screenshots were edited to, of course, block out anons, I have no clue exactly how—
Yeah, the reason some of the evidence are censored just to avoid this channel getting terminated. And the guy who made this video being taken down. But glad he didn't show that.
How many minors Neela was in contact with, but let's just hope that there isn't any more, since this is already a despicable case. While the Sonic fanbase has had predators in the past, none of them were as well known as Neela by the time they were outed. This case goes to show that even those we look up to can hide damning secrets. For God knows how long, we all believed they were good, functioning, productive members of society.
After meth.
Despite everything I've shown, which is already damn well known by now, her art is still widely beloved. So much so that some try to imitate her style, even going as far as tracing or heavily referencing. On 27 July 2022, Jasmine Hobotnik, the same person who made the video I clipped earlier, created a mega thread calling out various artists for tracing, mostly Neela's. Here is one part that shows very clear similarities between the piece done by tiny little bimbo and the original. There goes my monetization. Again, not to say you can't separate art from artists, because of course it's debatable. Art is art, but at the same time, theft is theft. Credit should be given where credit is due. But anyway, after the call out, Neela switched usernames multiple times. She went by Vuneko for a very short while. It clearly took her a bit before she realized her worth in the community and wiped all evidence of her existence off the internet. DeviantArt? Gone. Instagram? Gone. Twitter? Gone. Everything I provided in this video was only made possible through archives. The only remnants of Zer0finix live on as screenshots, shadows of what she used to be. According to Alshani, all evidence was already submitted to the police and there's an ongoing investigation, so rest assured. While these victims recover and the police do the work, this video is here to not let time forget Neela's actions. And neither should we forget what brought Neela into this position in the first place. You see, Zer0finix isn't the only example, she's just the worst one. Many fanart communities have what I like to call high school syndrome, where popularity defines your status. And if you think this makes no sense, just look around. If you're on a Discord server and you've ever wondered why a popular artist gets more attention than you, that's high school syndrome in action. And the Sonic fanbase is quite guilty of it, especially on Twitter. We have a serious problem that has yet to be addressed concerning the treatment of skilled artists, and when a 20-something-year-old artist is treated as such, they can develop egotism. Furthermore, develop a sense of influence over those inspired by them. And this influence results in a sort of tribalism where these artists can use their following as weapons to attack smaller ones that they don't like, through means of slander or otherwise. This behavior has been on repeat for several years and it has only gotten worse. I've known plenty of friends who are affected by mob mentality as a result of this tribalism. Some over things that happened years prior. Some who had to change their entire identities just to avoid harassment and public humiliation. Some who felt they no longer had a place in the community they used to love. Some who left their communities as a whole, leaving no trace, leaving friends questioning if they're even still alive. Zer0finix represents just about everything wrong with the current Sonic fanbase, and I'm tired of pretending everything's fine. We need to do better, as both artists and fans of artists.
Right.
If Zer0finix was here right now, would you have anything to say about her?
Oh god, if she was here right now, I'd say so many things to her.
Well,
so many things.
What's the first thing you would say that comes to your mind?
I want to tell her that...
Oh. I guess this video is all over.